Hey guys, Solid here and welcome back to another episode of Adventure News where we talk the latest, the greatest and sometimes the hated adventure and dual sport stories. KTM have dropped a little Christmas nugget for us to scoop up off the ground, and it's pretty good news for anyone who's interested in the 490 or the Norden 501. So let's roll that intro and get into the info. For those of you who haven't been following closely what KTM have been up to with the 490 Adventure and the Norden 501, at the beginning of the year, images leaked of KTM's future motorcycles as well as Husqvarna's at a shareholders meeting, and there we got a glimpse of the very blurry picture of a 490 Adventure and a Norden 501. I will throw those pictures up for everyone. Then in the middle of the year, the CEO of KTM confirmed that they were indeed developing this 490 Adventure and Norden 501. It was going to have a parallel twin, and he said it would be heavily based off the 790 Adventure and would offer something to step between the 390 Adventure and the 790 Adventure. So use those two bikes as a yardstick. So we now have some new information on the bike, as it's been a pretty quiet 6 months since that interview, and I know a lot of you guys are really wanting to know more about these bikes as it's a very exciting segment at the moment, and KTM entering into the market with a 500cc parallel twin stands to service the guys who are wanting a lighter weight adventure bike. They don't want the 2-ton Elephant GS or Africa Twin. They want something light that can get the job done at a better price, and some guys that are coming back into riding after a long break, and just as a bike for the guys who are retiring, looking at downsizing and having something that's easy to manage but still comfortable and can get the job done. So this bike stands to service a lot of interested parties. So what the CEO said in this interview is the first big piece of news is they intend to release the 490s in 2022. He didn't give specifics of when in 2022. He said he's fairly certain that these bikes will be released in 2022. Now, if I was a betting man, I'd say the Duke would probably come first and other road-based platforms, and then the adventure version would follow suit. And the same with the Husqvarna. I think that'll probably come a little bit later than the KTM. So he did say 2022 for all those wanting to know. The second piece of information that the CEO stated was that the intended power output for this brand new parallel twin is going to be 60 horsepower, which I think is perfect for this size motorcycle. I think it's really going to be an attractive option with 60 horsepower at 500 cc's. I'm thinking something about the weight, or maybe even a little bit lighter than the CB500X with 60 horsepower sounds absolutely fantastic. So that's a really positive sign there, and I'm quite excited by that power figure. Even though we don't have dyno figures yet, the fact that they're aiming for something around that ballpark is really positive news in my opinion, as it offers a nice upgrade from the mid 40 horsepower 390 Adventure up to the 500 or the 490 as they're calling it in KTM. So that's great news. 2 thumbs up from me about the 60 horsepower parallel twin. The final piece of news is the motorcycle is going to be made in conjunction with Bajaj. They're actually doing all the development under the supervision of KTM. So if you're not aware, KTM in India has an agreement with Bajaj Motorcycles, which is a massive motorcycle producer in India, and they've been knocking out the smaller sized KTMs for a while now, like the 390 Adventure. So they are developing this parallel twin. It's their very first parallel twin, so that might give you a little bit of concern, it might not. I think it should be fine. Bajaj are a pretty big motorcycle company and they're operating under the direction of KTM engineers. So I don't think it will be a problem with this parallel twin, although I do think that this might suggest where we can expect the 490 Adventure to land regarding kind of performance, weight and suspension, all that kind of thing. Given that it's in Bajaj, I think that they're probably going to be trying to cut costs a bit. So I would expect something that's basically a bigger 390 Adventure. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something with cast wheels, suspension travel that's perhaps not as much as some people were hoping, and a weight that's not quite as light as everybody was hoping. Of course, it's still going to be a fantastic motorcycle for those looking for a CB 500X with a little more performance and a little more off-road chops. I think that's going to be exactly where this bike is going to land. Of course, I do still have my fingers crossed that Husqvarna will come to the rescue and offer a more dirt-worthy option with spoked wheels, longer travel suspension, maybe spend a little bit more time trying to shed some weight as well. But I think the fact that it's being produced in India by Bajaj suggests that we should expect basically a bigger 390 adventure. When it comes to things like this, it's better to follow Occam's razor. If you hear hoofbeats, as Dr. Cox says, you don't think zebras, you think horses. So based on what we already have got out of Bajaj, we've got the 390 Adventure, which has cast wheels, basic suspension, but a fairly good adventure platform. I think that's what we should be expecting out of this 490, although I really am hoping that Husqvarna come to the party, or maybe KTM do an R version that's much more off-road orientated. I'd like to know what you guys think though. Are you looking forward to a more lightweight, dirt-worthy, hardcore off-road version for the 500? Or are you looking just for a beefier, more muscular CB 500X out of KTM? Let me know in the comment section down below. So that's about it for this little Christmas special of Adventure News. I hope you guys all have a good break and get some much needed time off. I will see you in the new year, and as always, we'll continue producing plenty of dual sport and adventure related material. Hopefully I'll be getting a new bike soon too. I definitely am getting excited for these new lightweight dual sports coming down the pipeline, so it shouldn't be too much longer until I have my next dual sport and I'm off-road having fun and dropping the bike all over again. So I will see you in the next video, guys. Don't forget to stay shiny side up and stay safe through the Christmas break, and I'll see you in the new year. Catch you later, guys.